Ladies and gentlemen, please remain standing. Good evening. Please join the Maine National Guard on the campus of Central Maine Community College as they raise the colors and play our national anthem. Gentlemen, please doff your caps. Please be seated. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 55th commencement ceremony of Central Maine Community College. This year, Central Maine Community College will graduate over 550 students. A very impressive number when you consider that 55 years ago, our first graduating class consisted of only 6 students. However, more than just numbers, we are proud to have had a hand in changing so many lives for the better and improving the workforce of the state of Maine. We are delighted to have you all with us this evening. With us, representing the Maine Community College System Board of Trustees, is Dr. David McMahon. Trustee McMahon will bring greetings from the board.
On behalf of my colleagues on the Maine Community College System Board of Trustees, it's my pleasure to be here today to extend congratulations to the graduating class of 2019. Commencements are a day of celebration. It's an opportunity for all of us here today to share with you and your families an accomplishment that is of great significance, an accomplishment that reaffirms the belief that Maine people are willing to work hard to achieve their dreams. The degree or certificate you will receive today is a symbol of your success, and your accomplishments are a testimony not only to your desire and intelligence, but also the skills and support of the faculty and staff of this fine institution. We all take great pride in knowing that we were able to contribute to your success. Again, on behalf of the trustees, I wish each of you the very best in your future.
Thank you, Trustee McMahon. We are very pleased to have with us this evening Mr. David Dagler, President of the Maine Community College System. President Dagler.
Thank you. Thank you. To the faculty, the staff, the family members, I bring deep and heartfelt thanks from those of us throughout the system for your role in today's celebration of success. Without you, this would not be nearly as joyous of an occasion. You have taught, encouraged, and supported this awesome class of graduates. Thank you. Now, to the class of 2019, I extend my hearty congratulations. I have had the honor to get to know some of you personally. You've studied hard. You've overcome immense challenges. You deserve to be proud of your accomplishments. I hope you consider 3 brief thoughts as you begin your journey as graduates of Central Maine Community College. First, today is a day of celebration. Celebrate responsibly, but do celebrate. You have so much to be proud of. Second, Amelia Earhart once said, "The most difficult thing is deciding to act. The rest is mere tenacity." Remember with pride the challenges that you faced and the tenacity that brought you to this stage. Share those challenges and your triumphs with everyone you meet. Encourage them to follow your lead. Maine will be better off if you do. That brings me to my third and final point. Commencement is a beginning, not an end. The world of work is changing rapidly. Return here, learn more. Consider this college as your lifelong partner. Together you will become more than you are, more than you ever dreamed you could be. Thank you. And again, congratulations, graduates.
Thank you, President Dagler. As we honor our graduates this evening, we want to take a few moments to recognize those graduates who have distinguished themselves with awards and achievements this past year. You will note that many students are wearing gold cords. These cords signify academic honors. The single gold cord signifies honors, which means those students have earned a cumulative grade point average of 3.3 to 3.599. Will the honors students please stand and be recognized? Thank you. The double gold cord signifies high honors, which means those students have earned a cumulative grade point average of 3.6 to 3.899. Will the high honors students please stand and be recognized? Thank you. The double gold cord is also worn by those who have achieved the highest honors, President's Honors, which means they have earned a GPA of 3.9 to a perfect 4.0. Will the President's Honors students please stand and be recognized? Thank you, and congratulations to all the honors graduates. Members of the Alpha Phi Xi chapter of the Phi Theta Kappa National Honor Society are wearing the gold honors stole during this evening's ceremony. Will the Phi Theta Kappa graduates please stand? Thank you. Every year, the Maine Community College Board of Trustees and community college presidents recognize students who exemplify achievement, involvement in the college community, service to community, and leadership. 4 of our graduates were honored this year. First, selected as members of the All-Maine academic team were Tyler Hayes, Zakiya Sheik, and Rusty Vining. Would the 3 of you please stand and be recognized? And earning the highest honor bestowed by the Maine Community College system, that of Student of the Year, is Kayla Thayer of Auburn. And Kayla, would you please stand and be recognized? There she is. Thank you and congratulations to all. It is now my pleasure to introduce our special guest, Dirk Lesko, President of Bath Iron Works. Mr. Lesko is a Vice President of the General Dynamics Corporation and the 15th President of Bath Iron Works, a Maine company that has been producing some of the world's most formidable ships for 135 years. A 29-year employee and a third-generation BIW shipbuilder, President Lesko has held leadership positions including General Manager, Vice President of Surface Combatant Programs, and Vice President and DDG 1000 Program Manager. He has also served as Chairman of the General Dynamics Engineering and Technology Council. A Maine native and graduate of Winthrop High School, President Lesko earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Maine and a master's degree in business administration from Boston University. He resides in Harpswell with his wife, Michelle, and their 5 children. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the President of Bath Iron Works, Dirk Lesko.
Thank you very much, Dean Philippon. President Dagler, Dr. Knapp, faculty, staff, parents, friends, and most importantly, graduates. It's a great pleasure to join you for this celebration of achievement. I'd like to start by adding my congratulations to the class of 2019. This is an important day for all of you and for those who gather with you here tonight. We are so very proud of you and so very hopeful for the future you represent. To your families, thank you for the love and support that inspired these graduates to demonstrate the tenacity and determination it took to achieve this milestone. And thank you for allowing me to be part of it. In preparing my remarks for tonight, I spent some time talking with people to see what they remembered about their commencement speaker. Most said the speaker was memorable, but a couple questions deep, that began to fall apart. And only a few remembered parts of the advice that were passed along, and a small fraction of that group actually remembered who the speaker was. I was able to convince myself that the reason they didn't remember had more to do with the amount of time that had passed than the quality or delivery of the message, and that at least in the moment the message was useful. Then I asked for advice on how to best squeeze everything I'd learned in the last 30 years into just 10 minutes. And the most honest responses I got were speak slowly or don't feel compelled to use all of the time. So I'll put your minds at ease. I recognize that I stand between you and graduation and hopefully celebration. And to that end, I'll do my best to share the advice I have for you quickly, and keep in mind that today is about you and not about me. You are the largest graduating class in the history of this institution, and you are graduating from a center of excellence. By any objective measure of facilities, technical content, innovative instruction, or network of support, Central Maine Community College has provided you with the very best educational opportunity available anywhere. You are here tonight because you've learned how to learn. You need to keep applying that skill to the rest of your lives, because although people say that life is short, you're probably going to be around for quite a while. So you better be good at something. I know that each of you will leave here tonight more capable than when you started your journey. And that's a great and useful thing, but it isn't the most important thing you've accomplished. Whether you recognize it or not, the most important thing you're taking away is that you've learned how to learn. When you understand what that means and you keep applying those skills for the rest of your lives, you'll have the chance to feel the same way you do tonight over and over again. Now, if you're wondering what I mean, think a little about how you got through your program of study. The first thing you did was opened your mind to the idea that there was someone or something worth knowing and someone who was worth listening to so you could learn about it. Starting anything with an open mind is a great first step. It makes you a better listener, and you're a lot more likely to ask questions and to collaborate. When you do those things, you're engaged, and when you're engaged, good things begin to happen. Think about how many other opportunities you have in your lives where you can apply that same construct. There is always something more you can learn, and there is always someone you can learn from. There's another dimension to learning, and that's about what you do when you make a mistake. You're going to make plenty of mistakes, everybody does. But when you make a mistake, keep in mind that nothing is ever quite as bad, or sometimes even quite as good, as it first seems. Take time to understand what you did wrong so you can learn from it and move on. And when you're deciding how to do that, always remember that your integrity is the most valuable asset that you have. The next thing I would encourage you to focus on is managing expectations. So let's start with your own. It's easy sometimes to get discouraged when things don't go your way, especially when you feel like the outcome isn't fair, whatever that means. I had a mentor who would remind me that fair is where you sell the pig, and he did that quite often. What he meant by that was that every minute I focused on something I could neither influence nor control, I was wasting time I could put to better use. That didn't mean that things that fell outside those categories weren't impactful. It just meant if I had any hope of getting what I wanted, I needed to focus elsewhere. Each of us has enormous potential to influence or control the events of our lives if we focus on the opportunities. As those opportunities present themselves to you, consider that accomplishment and character are what define you, not fortune or fame. The world may or may not be fair, but your accomplishments and your character are your own. Make them something you will be proud of. Finally, be open to new experiences. At work and in the rest of your lives, sometimes the best things that happen aren't the things you plan. I'll stick with a career example here. I have the absolute best job in the world. I deeply respect the skills of the people I work with, and I'm proud of the fact that everything we do at Bath Iron Works is something that sailors can bet their lives on. Would you be surprised to know that shipbuilding was not what I planned to do? Or that every job I've had at BIW before this one in many cases wasn't something I was sure was a good fit, or it wasn't in some cases I thought it would be something I would do well. Many were assignments I tried to turn down, some more than once. But without them, each and every one of them, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you tonight. Now, I'm sharing this embarrassing fact with you to illustrate that many times our opinions, no matter how strongly held, differ greatly from reality. There is opportunity in almost everything, including those things that are the toughest challenges. Don't reject those challenges too quickly. I've learned a lot more about myself from the things I wasn't sure I could do than I did from those that seemed safer. If you bet on yourselves, others will too. And if you're willing to work hard enough, there isn't anything you can't accomplish. In closing, I'm going to shift my focus from sharing my own advice and ask you to consider something U.S. Supreme Court Justice Thurgood Marshall said in a 1978 commencement address. I learned a lot about Justice Marshall as BIW prepared to christen the DDG 1002 Lyndon B. Johnson last month. Lyndon Johnson was the 36th President of the United States and appointed Marshall to the Supreme Court in 1967. Marshall told the graduating class that included his own son, the privilege of attending so fine a university as this one must bear with it an unceasing responsibility to use your knowledge and training for improving the lives of others. I hope most sincerely that as each of you leaves tonight to make your mark on the world around you, you consider that responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President Lesko. The presentation of diplomas will be conducted by Dr. Scott Knapp, President of Central Maine Community College, and Dr. Betsy Libby, Dean of Academic Affairs.
Graduates, families, and friends, honored guests, President Knapp. On behalf of the faculty of Central Maine Community College, I am pleased to present the students assembled before you as candidates for associate degrees, certificates, or advanced certificates. I am certifying to you that the students who have successfully completed the prescribed curricula requirements have earned these credentials of the college. Graduates, will you please stand?
Graduates, by the authority vested in me by the State of Maine and the Board of Trustees of the Maine Community College System, and upon the recommendation of the faculty of Central Maine Community College, I confer upon you the Associate in Arts degree, Associate in Science degree, Associate in Applied Science degree, or award you the certificate or advanced certificate in your program of study with all of the rights and privileges appertaining thereto. In witness thereof, you will be presented with a diploma onto which I have set my hand and caused the seal of the college to be thereunto affixed.
Thank you, President Knapp. Graduates, please be seated. Graduates will be called forward by program major. President Knapp, who will be assisted by Trustee McMahon and President Daegler, President Lesko, and the faculty representative of each program will present the diplomas. Will the graduates of the Architectural and Civil Engineering Technology program please stand and come forward when called? Representing the Architectural and Civil Engineering Technology program and assisting with the presentations is Dan Marino. Adam Raymond Burrell. Connor James Ladd. Zachary Lowe. The Architectural Engineering Fundamentals of Surveying Certificate, Sydney Owen Jackson. Sabrina DeQuery Smith. Representing the Automotives Department is Carl Hinckley. Cameron S. Atherton. The Automotive Technology Associate in Applied Science, Brian Delancourt. Isaac Tremblay Johnson. Michaela Roy. Madeline Wakefield. Devin A. Wright. The Automotive Technology Forward Asset Program, Garrett M. Como. Joe DeMarco. Jariah Edwards. Cody P. Pelletier. Devin M. Raymond. Zachary J. Savage. The Automotive Technology Dealer Tracks Program. Diamond Kara Banks. Kenneth Peter Kozak III. Robert Earl LaLiberty. Sean Allen Lewis Friveri. Damon P. Viss. Representing Building Construction Technology and assisting with the presentations is Dawn Varney. Corbin James Concepcion. Samuel Stephen Dice. Richard Brian McGuire. Michael T. Smith. Representing the business programs and assisting with the presentations is Margaret Brewer. The accounting program, Kristen Elizabeth Huntress. Caitlin M. Spear. The Business Administration and Management Program, Farhan Hassan Abday. Muslimo H. Mudali. The Business Transfer Degree, Usaini Usmani. Laura Lee Bratton. Heather M. Brown. Kimberly Dawn Coron. Emily Claire Fournier. Drake Logan Copill. Amanda Louise Hebert. Christopher Herrick. Chelsea K. Johnson. Amanda J. LaFrance. Edwin N. Medor. Mason Jean Morin. Nicole Maria Moulton. James John Michael Palmer. Catherine M. Phillips. Lauren Marie Potvin. Morgan Heather Riley. Timothy D. Soroy. Samuel C. Storer. Cody L. Tozier. Selena L. Tyler. Marion Abderman. William Robert Bishop. Janai Boko. Fatuma Ibrahim Farah. Deja Koto. Jonathan Roger Look. Lauren L. Manchester. Myrna Morisot. Benjamin Nichols. Cagney McKenna O'Brien. Zilong Pan. Representing computer technology and assisting with the presentations is Ashley Hayes. Mokuntuma Francis Ndagla. Jima Azarak. Hassan Abdullah Hassan. Nicholas George Dunn. Network Security Computer Forensics, Bailey Bryant. Charles H. Ernesto. Representing Criminal Justice and assisting with the presentations is Matthew Tift. Samantha Rose Bellardo. Mary Louise Brighton. Kylie Shervest. Savannah Nicole Cressy. Carla Jean Dion. Tabitha Ellsworth Douglas. Dominique Amelia Givens. Tyler Charles Gray. Zion Gurney. Rebecca E. Harmon. Dek Hassan. Spencer R. Harrington. Jerry LaRock. Cole S. Lehman. Elizabeth Lucas. Javier Y. Padilla. Dayton Gregory Palmer. Taylor Lynn Karina Richards. Liam M. Stewart. Richard Kane Thompson. Tabitha Noel Talumak. John P. Wardwell. Criminal Justice Police Operations Advanced Certificate, Aralina Gathers Hairstone. Ryan K. Walk. Representing the culinary program and assisting with presentations is Austin Perot. Rachel Alexander. Kylie Lorraine Grant. Melissa A. Patry. Annika Helen Barr. Dakota J. Danforth. Noah Richard Paul LeClaire. Restaurant Management, Natalie L. Kocher. Melinda A. Straight. Representing early childhood education and assisting with the presentations is Karen White. Alexis Kate Bessie. Caitlin Elizabeth Brooks. Tisha K. Clark. Michaela Lynn Carver. Tamika Connor. Adriana Shane Dion. Jillian Ray DeLallo. Sarah Jean Dudley Taylor. Rhonda A. Farah. Harley Fortier. Lynn Gross. Dorothy Holmes Picard. Crystal Lynn Kirk. Michelle Martin. Christian Lee McCarthy. Amanda L. Monahan. Whitney A. Smith. Education. Kaylee Jo Anderson. Emily P. Brown. Samantha Ray Bruce. Sarah N. Carpenter. Sarah Chapeau. Alana M. Dubois. Cassandra Frazier. Jenny Lee Perrion. Representing the Electrical Mechanical Technology program and assisting with the presentations is Kevin Latundras. Cordell Devon Elbert. Scott F. Baptiste Sr. Nicholas Ronald Bolduck. Isaac Brennick. Jennifer L. Burr. Justin John Kuhl. Conrad J. Derval. Abigail Morgan Fogg. Caleb Wesley Frost. Thomas H. Hop Lovett. Kevin T. Knight. Derek M. Larrabee. Nathan Jean Long. Joseph P. Martineau. Jeremy Matthew Mitchell. Vincent Patrick Coyne Ortiz. Dakota Miles Paul. Alec Picard. Charles Warren Smith. Kurt Michael Tibbetts. Dajer Tashando Wawandi. The General Studies Program. Amanda R. Anderson LaPointe. Doug J. Banks. Elijah Barbour. Audrey L. Beliveau. Nicole A. Casavola. Rachel Emily Cretion. Joshua Cherry. Joseph Dennis Cormier III. Teresa M. Christ. Melissa Ann Sear. Abdullahi Dowd. Corey David. Connor Dillon. Cody Doloff. Elizabeth Dunham. Grace Hayes. Jocelyn Gelbert. Emilia L. Krapovicki. Shannon Lassard. Isaiah J. Lewis. Austin Ford Love. Joshua Stephen McNally. Stephen Bruce Mercia III. Vicky Marie Morgan. Shuab Nagy. Yunosa Osamani. William Lee Rolfe. Alice R. Sherwood. Rebecca O. Skeel. Alexander L. Strout. Brianna Mellerin. Natalie Rose Thurber. Brooke Elizabeth Tracy. Kirsten L. Walder. Representing the graphic communications programs and assisting with the presentations is June Robert Sherman. Riley Kate Allen. Evelyn G. Blake. Garrett Jordan Cummings. Kelsey R. Gilbert. Jenna A. Gilmore. Brittany Gora. Caitlin Brooke Pomelo. Representing the Human Services Program and assisting with the presentations is Jesse Morris. Amina Abdi. Sadio Mohammed Aden. Harndi Mohammed Ewo. Falhando Mohammed Aden. Asha Ali. Lisa Marie Bailey Burnham. Allison M. Karen. Willa Aiden Idris. Faisa Ahmed Jama. Jocelyn Corinne Conan. Jessica A. LeMay. Destiny L. Lizotte. Isha Abdikir Matin. Courtney Elizabeth Mills. Nemo K. Omar. Representing Liberal Studies and assisting with the presentations is Ethel Bowden. Daniel S. Burgess. Spencer S. Davis. Mallory Rose Dwyron. Deegan A. Gouled. Kiera Bryce Hunter. Cassandra Marie Lelamand. Lydia E. Simons. Representing the Life Sciences and Allied Health Department is Roz Arianti. Life Sciences. Gabrielle Como. Catherine E. Darling. Kenny Hewen. Alexandra Lamoureux. Jordan T. Reynolds. Kayla Thayer. Tyler Clayton Tibbetts. Sarai E. Wenzel. Medical Assistant. Nazra Mohammed Abdirahman. Nicole Opal Hield. Halimo Mohammed Mira. Brooke A. Reynolds. Kristen M. Rickett. Lisa Yakorsky. Medical Coding and Electronic Health Records. Megan Marie Beckfar. Jenny L. Trask. Physical Fitness Specialist, Emma Rose Gall. Alex James Janelle. Robert B. Maines. Dana E. Taylor Fifield. Frederick R. Webb. Representing nursing and assisting with the presentations is Kathleen Montague. Paul H. Arthur. Jenna Austin. Lauren T. Crane. Amanda Sue Diuti. Kendra L. Davis. Elizabeth C. Devine. Michelle Lynn Flanders. Audrey Gilmore. Christine Ann Haskell. Annika Krista Kakkonen. Kelly Kathleen Carusis. Samantha Mary Knapp. Christina R. Larson. Jennifer T. Lavi. Angela Shelby Mason. Luda Nichols. Brianna M. Powell. Rachel Marie Proudman. Lindsay Ann Robsham. Sarah L. Swan. Elizabeth M. Tangway Collins. Mallory Thurston. Brittany Waterhouse. Anna Wilson. Representing Precision Machining Technology and assisting with the presentations is Richard Bolding. Braden Joshua Crummett. Tyler Hayes. Daniel Philip Jones Jr. Jonathan R. Layton. Jared Earl Merchant. David R. Milligan. Bradley A. Nystrom. Antonio James Parisi. Taylor Kenneth Reed. Brandy M. Snow. Emily V. Urban. Rusty M. Vining. President Knapp, Sitting before us is the Central Maine Community College class of 2019.
So graduates, you may now move your tassels from right to left. So I have actually been the president of Central Maine Community College for 22 or 23 years. It's all starting to run together. And every single year, I have been able to say this. This is the largest class in the history of the college. So today is a day that a lot of people need to be thanked. And the nice thing about being the president is I get to go first. And I first of all want to thank the graduates themselves. Unless you ever actually become a teacher or an educator, you will never realize how much a student enriches the life of a teacher. So we really appreciate the fact that you have shared this portion of your life with us. Many people have worked very hard to ensure that you received an education. And I would like the graduates only to stand and join me in thanking the faculty and staff of Central Maine Community College for a job exceptionally well done. Four of our colleagues are attending their last commencement this evening. Faculty members Carl Hinckley, Fred Donovan, Karen White, and Administrator Ron Bolstridge have announced that they will retire from the college at the end of this year. Would the four of you please stand and allow us to thank you for your service? And also tonight, our thanks to the citizens of Maine for their continuing support for the Maine Community College system. On behalf of the faculty and staff, congratulations to the class of 2019. We invite you all to join us in the back of the auditorium for light refreshments at the conclusion of the ceremony. Would you all please remain in your seats until all of the graduates have left the hall? Marshal Hinckley, would you please retrieve the mace? And ladies and gentlemen, these proceedings are closed.